Okay, we are getting ready to start integers. And there are some key phrases that we want you to know and understand before you start doing your integer assignments, which are coming up this week. So we want you to think of integers as we have our ground. And so here's the ground. We have some grass. It's beautiful grass, and it doesn't show up very good with this green. And we have dug a hole. And we have this giant hole right here. And next to it, we have a beautiful flower. And I'm going to draw my beautiful flower. My stem's going to have to be brown because, well, my markers all died since we've been gone. It will have to be the same brown as the dirt because it's the only marker that's working at the time. And I have this beautiful flower and this beautiful sunshine, and I'm gonna have clouds. My red looks pink. Not sure why my markers decided to take a COVID break, but they sure did. Okay, here's my flower. I've got a tree over here. Let's draw a tree. Oh, it's a squeaky tree. We've got our tree, and I don't have a green marker to make it green. So this tree is going to have to be a cherry tree full of beautiful cherry blossoms. And cherry trees, they kind of hang down like this a little bit. So let's do it in this color because it would work a little bit better. Cherry trees, they kind of bloom out a little bit, you know. So here's our cherry blossoms. They're everywhere. These are not cherries, they are blossoms. I don't want you to be confused by that. So we have our beautiful cherry blossoms. And when you start talking about integers, you're talking positive and negative numbers. And I want you to think about this kind of on a vertical number line. So if the ground is 0, everything beneath the ground would be negative. These are your negative integers. This is integers, not gers, not integers, it's integers. So those are all of your negative integers. And above ground are all of your positive integers. And I want you to think about what words mean positive things to you. So if I'm saying, let's say I get to go above, right? So above is going to be on top of this 0. So above would be a positive integer. These are words that give you clues to what the integer is. The opposite of above would be below. We may have minus or plus. One that is really a common misconception for students is debit. If I have a debit card and I go to the store, you've seen your mom do this, and she puts her debit card in, a debit means they take the money away from the person. They are debiting their account. So debit is actually a negative integer. So debit is a negative integer. And the opposite of debit is credit. So credit means they're going to give you money. And that gets confusing because we think, well, credit cards aren't good. But with a credit card, they've lent you so much money. So you have to think of those differently. If I go to the bank and I withdraw money, a withdrawal, I have taken money out of my account. So withdraw is negative. That's a negative integer. If we below, under would be a negative. Down. Oh, what about decreases? Or drop. If you're holding a ball, right here would be your your 0. When you let go, it's dropping, so it would be negative. If you threw it up, would be positive. So drop would be negative. And since positive is the opposite of negative, we could say up. We could say deposit. Instead of withdrawing from your bank account, you would deposit. My cherry tree got in the way. We're gonna have to scoot it around. So if you go to the bank and you deposit money, if you earn, then you're getting something, a reward. So that implies a positive interaction. If you buy or pay someone, then the money is leaving your hands. Money is a really good way for me to think about this. But I draw it in the whole because you can visualize this whole. And you can see that right here is ground level, and everything below would represent a negative integer. And you're going to have to recognize these words because in some of your upcoming assignments in Khan Academy, you will have what number represents the statement type things. So if it says, Mrs. Hebe went down into the basement, that would be a negative. She went down into the basement 8 steps. That would represent a negative 8. If I climbed the tree 10 feet, that would be a positive 10. So maybe we should put climbed down here. I climbed a mountain. What if we were at the ocean? That's another one that's really good because sea level is what is our true 0 for elevation. If I went diving, I would be going below the surface. So if I were to dive, or what if I could fly? I would be going above. So these are some scenarios and some words that represent positive and negative integers. These words represent scenarios that you should think I'm either adding to or taking away. Maybe I'm doubling, so I'm multiplying, or I'm sharing out, so I would be dividing. But these are some of your beginning basic words that represent different integer scenarios. I wanted to give this to you. It might be a good thing to write it down for your upcoming assignments so you don't have to rewatch the video. But I wanted you to have a basic understanding of the vocabulary for integers.